everybody, welcome back to the channel. My name's Sarah, if we haven't met yet. Today I wanted to show you one orchid that's actually two orchids, and I want to show you what it looks like in bloom and not in bloom. So if you're interested in that, please stay tuned for today's video. If you could like and subscribe if you enjoy this video, it really helps me out in the algorithm, and hit the notification bell so that you get notified every time I upload a brand new video. So let's get into it. Okay, so we're going to focus on these two Oncidium types. These are Alicera. The tags say Aliceara Stellar Hoku. I got these from Orchids by Hauserman, not sponsored, but that's where I get most of my orchids from. Orchids are kind of usually hard to propagate unless they have a keiki, or another way you can do it is through bulb division. So this was at one time one plant. Hard to imagine, but what I did was I cut the rhizome and had probably, the rule is 3 bulbs. These are the bulbs, but I'm looking at this one and I'm pretty sure I guess I did have 3. 1, 2, 3. And then in the 2 years that I've had this, it grew this new pseudobulb and this new pseudobulb. And then the flowers come up from the sides. So you've got the pseudobulb to store the energy, and it produces a leaf, sometimes 2 leaves. And then on the sides here is where the flower spikes will come from. And this is exciting. This year, this one got 2 flower spikes, so 1 on each side. You can see all the other flowers that I've had on this. These are the old dried out flower spikes, so I just cut them. And you can see like the old sheath where it came from. Let me get in there. And then that's the old flower spike that I cut off once it starts to die. Or sometimes like these can weigh a lot when the flowers start to open, the blooms will get kind of heavy and the plant will start to tip. And sometimes I cut them because I get kind of annoyed with the plant like trying to fall its way out of the pot, so because of the weight of the flowers. So I've only had 1 flower spike, like I said before, on both of these, but this is the first year I've had 2, like 1 come up from each side, so that's really exciting. So you can see here's another old flower spike, and then you can see here on this one, this is the oldest pseudobulb, and it flowered from this side, but we didn't get flowers from this side. So, and then it's cool because once it flowers and the flowers are done, then it starts to grow a new shoot. Let me turn that around. A new shoot at the base of the oldest, or the most recent pseudobulb. So you could get 1 there, or I don't want to disturb it. Well, maybe I do. Let's see if we've got something. You can peel off the old sheath. And sometimes, oh, yes. I think, yeah, you can see. See this little tiny bulb right there? Right there. That'll be a new growth. If that decides to grow, this little thing right there, that'll be another new growth. So it's got 2 potential directions of growth. This one is what it's choosing to put its energy into pursue, but it also could have a new growth point. So you kind of have to pull the sheaths back on the side to see, and that might develop or it might not. It depends on, the plant, what the plant wants to do. And you can cut these back. Sometimes they're easy to pull off like that. Sometimes you got to work it a little bit to get them out, or you can, cut with a pair of scissors, which I do not have handy. But if you are curious, that's where the next possible growth could come from. And there's generally, Usually there's one on each side, but like I said, it doesn't always choose to grow that way. So here's the other sheath. And they'll poke through the sheath, so the new growth will start to poke through the sheath. So you don't have to remove anything. If you do have pests, though, sometimes pests can hide in these. So well, I won't put you through anymore pain with that. So, and I'll put a picture on the screen of the flower spikes that I've gotten from this plant in the past. But I thought it was cool so you could see what a plant looks like when it's growing vegetatively, like this one is. You can see the oldest pseudobulb is starting to lose its leaf, and eventually, once that yellows off enough, because it's starting to yellow, it'll form a seal right there, and then the leaf will eventually just fall off, and then you'll be left with these, just an old pseudobulb that has flowered, but you can still keep on there because it'll hold on to energy and store water and nutrients. These are the pseudobulbs are really nice because they make the plant very drought tolerant. You can tell, like, this one's kind of wrinkled. I just watered this for another video, like just took it out of the water, but you can see where this is kind of a water loving orchid because you can see the bulb is kind of shrivelly on it, and that means it needed water. And then the new one, this is really nice and smooth compared to the other pseudobulbs on the plant. So yeah, just wanted to show you what it looks like in bud. Anyway, it'll be really pretty when it blooms. The flowers are kind of spidery looking, and then they are like reds and purples, and they have a kind of a peppery scent, which sounds weird, but it's worth it for the flowers, I promise. So I can't wait for this to open. I keep this under my grow lights. So that's the plant growing vegetatively, and then that's the plant with flower spikes on it, and they're both in the exact same setup, the orchid top pots, not sponsored, from repotme.com. And that's what they look like. So, your plant won't always have flowers on it, but having a duplicate is nice because when one isn't in flower, then the other one is in flower. So you've got that as a nice option for you. And what's nice too is you can propagate these and give them away to friends. It takes, I think I would say I get about a pseudobulb a year on these. So it does take a while for them to develop, but once you have a bigger plant, you can always repot it, and then, or you can always propagate it and then give it away to a friend. I would keep the rule of 3 in mind with the back bulb division. So make sure you give a friend at least 3 bulbs. So, and then you could either pot it or just give it to them. So I hope that was helpful. Again, this is Aliceara Stellar Hoku. These are Oncidium-Type orchids, and they are sympodial. Oh, yes, I do. Monopodial would be like a Vanda or a regular Phalaenopsis that you would get like at the grocery store. So hope that was helpful, and hope it gave you some insight on how oncidiums grow, how sympodial plants grow, sympodial orchids, and then what they look like when one's in flower and one's not. So you can kind of get an idea of what you're stuck with most of the year, an orchid that's not in bloom, and then you've got an orchid that is getting ready to flower. So it's exciting, and they're so pretty, but they're so pretty when they do flower, and the flowers last a long time, but you also have to wait. So trade-offs when growing orchids. They are slow growing, but they're so worth the flower show. So anyway, just some thoughts and tips to share with you. So I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, please, again, like and subscribe. It helps me out in the algorithm. And if you want to see more videos like this, let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. So I'll see you in the next one. Bye.